without talking to you or sharing some knowledge, some advice on what my day was like today. As I said before, I'm preparing to go to a federal conference next week in Puerto Rico. And I have seen the situation, the same situation that I see presenting itself now. I've seen it in 2007, 2008. I see a lot of the private contractors that are used to working with developers and in the private sector, diverting into public work. Public work, I mean the work that is low bid. Here, let's say I'm in Miami, with local agencies, local government, or state government. And I see a lot of people giving prices that are bare-bone. And that is a recipe for disaster. So instead of doing that, I would suggest they could position themselves to work for the federal government. That is exactly what I did in 2007, 2008. I started working with the federal government. And the federal government, a lot of people don't like the federal government because of the requirements and the discipline around execution and the penalties. But that's not a problem. To me, the biggest problem is not getting paid. To me, is the biggest problem. But I love the sophistication that the Army Corps of Engineers, for example, has. The federal government is a lot more sophisticated, and there's a lot more accountability, not only on our end, but they are on their end as well. They have accountability even to pay a small business. So I would urge you to consider really positioning yourself to work for the federal government. I really believe it pays off. It takes time, like anything else, because the sales cycle in our industry can be lengthy, but it definitely pays off. It definitely pays off. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities this year because there's almost $1 billion just approved. I mean, that's a lot of money. And us small businesses can add a lot of value to a federal client, and they like small business. It's a structured process. They have an avenue for a small business to enter into this process, and it's a safe avenue for them. We just need to adapt our capabilities and our marketing and our business development skills to provide that safety net to this client. I put a document, I think a couple of days ago, where I'm giving you reasons why you could be making a mistake when you go into a networking event where you find these clients. But the federal government, especially the Department of Defense, is so organized that they do have marketing events and networking events just to help small business find these opportunities, connect with the leaders. You don't have to pay, you don't have to pay for that. You don't have to pay a lobbyist. It's so transparent. So my advice is that you dedicate some time to work above the business, and you work in your capability statement, and you work in your plan this year. And I'll be sharing this probably, the events that I will be attending. Next week, I'm going to Puerto Rico. And I am revamping my capability statements because, of course, we have to stay current. One of the things you want to make sure that you do is you want to align your story with their story. What do I mean by that? You want to make sure you understand what is the mission this agency has. What's their priority? What is the pain they have? If your marketing material, if your conversation with this agency does not speak to what's important to them, they're going to tune out. They're going to listen to you for a moment, but they will tune out. So you want to make sure that you do your homework. They are not about, look, one of the things I like is that they appreciate value over price. of course, that has a little bit more work. The proposals you have to prepare have a little bit more work, but there is a journey to enter that to have a relationship with that client. There's a journey, and I think it's a very good journey. The federal government has to award a big percentage, 23% of all the work that they put out there to small businesses. And what I mean by that is that out of 700 billion in annual federal contract spending, 700 billion, that's a lot of money. You know, that's a lot of money all over the US. They need to award to other small businesses 23% of that. That's a lot of money too. So you have a huge ocean of opportunities for you to be able to tap into this. But here's what I'm saying. The margins when you do a federal contract are probably higher than when you do a low bid. When you're scrambling just to get a job because there's desperation in the air, your margins are low. The other thing is that when you work with an agency that does not value the expertise you have, you're going to be working on really, really small margins. And these agencies are they really value small businesses. They really value processes. They will not ask you to do change order work without an approval. And if they do, it's very understandable. They will understand right away when you say, I'm sorry, I can't. I have to follow the contract. You provide a change order and I will do it. So the communication level is at a different level, completely different. Another thing that I probably can share is that when you go to these events, do your homework. Go and find out what is the forecast. And that allows you the opportunity to prepare. The forecast that they put out there helps you align to what is coming out. These projects, sometimes they're in the planning phase for 5 years, 10 years. It could be 10 years. So they have a really good understanding. And when now Congress approves the budget, they're ready to price. So do your homework. See what's in the forecast. And the forecast allows you to plan and prepare and position. That's what you want. You don't want to be in a reactive mode to build your pipeline and your backlog. Backlog is so important. So you don't want to be rushing to build your backlog because you're desperate and you don't have any more work. You know, the other thing I want you to decide, what's my niche? And who buys what I do really well? That's a question they're going to have in their head. You want to be able to answer that question. What's my niche? They sell all kinds of stuff. What's the next code? What is the code that they utilize to find in their database the work you do? And how do you position yourself to start sending capability statements and start requesting meetings through the small business office? I'll tell you a little story. When I had to do my first capability briefing, it's so funny. This is, I don't know, 15 years ago. I had to do my first capability briefing meeting, and I had no idea how to put that together. This was the first time they said yes, and we're like so excited, but also very nervous. And so we went to the area, this was in Texas. In a way, you want to position is also deciding which are the regional areas that you believe you can service really well. When you create your capability presentation, make sure you answer all these questions. What do they need? What do they want? And we were so nervous, so nervous, but it was a success. And from there, they asked me, what's the smallest job you can do? And I said, listen, I can move a trash can from one corner to another corner, because it's not the size of the contract that matters to me. It's the relationship. Can I really service this client, and can this client be a fit for me, for my culture, for my values? Are they going to pay me? How fair are they going to be? I really don't want to work in a project where if I do my part, I don't get paid. That you can sense I've been there, done that, and I don't want that, and I don't think you want it either, especially if you are a small business. But I believe even large business don't care about that. So here's another thing. We work for the Department of Defense. It's the and we have other agencies, USDA. There's other agencies. Find out which ones do you really want to commit to. Select one or two and start really understanding that client, dating the client, going to their events. Let them recognize you by your first name the next time you meet them. It's an investment of time, but it's also going to position you to really be working as the CEO of your business. If you don't have a staff that is going to do your business development, it's going to position you to be able to have the time to connect with your clients. It's very important to have those relationships, and it's very important to dedicate that time to, and then create a system around developing the leads that are going to allow you to have a healthy backlog. Backlog is extremely important for profitability, extremely important, and timely backlog is even more important. So you want to make sure that you have a system around it, and that you're measuring how many opportunities am I receiving leads from. It could be that the forecast is your lead. The forecast, they have a project this size, and I can do this, and the other. At the same time, when you're building your funnel, right, find out how many meetings do you need to have in order to get a contract. How many projects do you have to price, and how many proposals do you have to price in order to get a contract? All these metrics are going to help you tune into the effort that you're going to have to put just to get one client. And there's a cost for that. You want to understand what's the cost to acquire a client. All of this is going to help you identify what's the best path for you, and which path has the highest return. I didn't do that at the beginning. I didn't create these dashboards, and I'm hoping that you do, because you're going to be more efficient, and you're going to be able to understand really what part of your effort is giving you the most dividends. At the same time, in these events or these networking opportunities, you're going to find companies that are going to pursue contracts that are extremely large. You might not be able to assume that responsibility, but these are opportunities also for relationships. Because if you haven't had one contract with any agency in the federal government, it's going to be hard for you to have your first one. That, what goes first, the chicken or the egg? But if you stay persistent, at some point, you will. They really want to give us the opportunity. But more important than that, even if you are a women-owned business that can get 5% of the overall spend, or a small disadvantaged business, an 8A, that it's a 5% of the overall spend, or a 3% hub zone, or a service disabled, it doesn't matter. The certification, that opens a door, but it doesn't guarantee a contract. So you want to make sure that you can deliver at the highest level, that you can execute these contracts. Because yes, they have a lot of requirements, and they are going to throw the book at you. The contract will govern. But what I love about that is what's in the contract is what's going to govern. Nobody's going to come up with a new rule, which happens in other agencies that are less sophisticated, let's say. Less sophisticated. these people are very professional and they make their careers in the government to make sure that they execute. And I think one of the reasons why is because so much is at stake. They take care of the nation, and they take care of, they really pride in being mission ready. So they understand what business are they really in. And we are just an avenue to assist in the bigger mission for this country. So you want to do your part. We want to do our part. There's a lot of vehicles that you could go after once you have your first contract and your second contract. But you can also, and of course, that's going to take you a little bit of time if you haven't done the position and if you don't have the experience. But partnering with another company, subcontracting with another company is an avenue. Joint venturing with another company is an avenue. Finding a mentor is an avenue. So make sure that you go to SAM and you register as a vendor if you haven't done so. You have the right next code, that you have your capability statement that speaks to the results that you have provided for another client. You will get an opportunity. Create a list of the agencies that you want, one or two. I'm not saying shift your entire business operation unless you don't have any work and you have the time to invest in that. It will pay off. I guarantee you that. To me, this is the best client there is. The federal government, but hands down, the best client. And make sure you have a way to track the forecast. Yes, it's a lengthy process, but it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And you will create a system, a procedure, a system in your company that you'll have somebody following the forecast, creating weekly opportunities for you to review in your companies in the go no goes. And that's how you're going to get familiarized with the opportunities that are coming out. Now, when you see that forecast and there's a proposal coming that you're going to have to provide in order for them to evaluate whether you are the right fit or not, be ready, because proposals is how they evaluate and assess risk before putting their stamp. And a contracting officer, they are not going to assume risk if we cannot answer all the risk questions. So go make your list of events that you're going to participate in. That's public information, extremely organized. And if you want a list of certain meetings and networking events that the government has, just type that and send me a message and I will share that with you. A list of all the networking events and that the Army Corps of Engineers has, to make it easy for you. You want to familiarize yourself with the government. Start researching how the growth path of a company that starts with the federal government. And don't be afraid of compliance. Don't be afraid of Davis-Bacon. Don't be afraid of I guess a difficult path, because I don't think there's I don't think there's a path more difficult than not getting paid. And with the federal government, is if you do your job, you follow the contract, you will get paid. So this is my little advice for you, and I hope it serves you, and I hope you decide to explore it at least before saying no or go by what other people say. My experience is this has been the best client. I do have other clients that are local that are amazing as well. But to me, an amazing client is somebody where in the project we solve problems together, we find solutions, they follow the contract, and we follow the contract, and they are fair. It's that's a win-win. If your team is stressed in a project and solutions are not being provided or decisions are not being made, that is something that you want to explore. Maybe pursuing another client might be worth your time. Till the next video, I hope you have a blessed day, blessed night. Thank you.